Hi there, it's Sandy, your sister and your friend. Welcome to today's video. Today I want to talk about how we forgive our enemies. That doesn't seem like an easy thing to do, but there's actually a brilliant exercise that I found in this book I mentioned in the last video called A Course in Miracles. I apologize for showing it to you backwards. I'm not going to take the time to figure out how to reverse my video. I'm really just more interested in sharing my spiritual journey with you than to figure out a whole bunch of mechanics, because I know how smart you are and this is not going to hold you up or hamper you in any way. But if something's been revealed to me and it makes me free and sets my heart totally in love with God and with everybody else, I just want to get this information out there to you. And it's always something that I've put into practice. I'm not telling you something that I haven't practiced, and that has been a journey into having a really happy, joy-filled life. So the last video I posted was how God sees forgiveness. And in that, I talked about how I shifted my mindset to see myself, my brother, this experience as from our reality of still being in God, never having been separated from God. And so therefore, I don't see my brother as having sinned against me, but I instead see that he or she made an error, and errors can be corrected or handled in some way. So, and that this is just a dream world. So what's happening in this world, it's not that I'm denying that it's happening, but I just doesn't have eternal consequences to me anymore. And so when I move towards forgiveness, I move out of the mindset of unforgiveness, which is all my egos. That's what my ego wants me to stay in, that perspective. When I move into an idea of forgiveness, that really comes from my perspective of seeing things as God sees the world, as a dream world, nightmare, we might say. And this is the way I learn actually how to forgive myself. So it's a loving thing to do for somebody else, but it's also how I forgive myself. Now, this course has so many really awesome things to say about forgiveness and unforgiveness. I wanted to actually share some quotes from this course work with you here today. And I'll put the links in the description. I'll share where it comes from in the book. So here's a quote. "Forgiveness is the answer to your search for peace. Here is the key to meaning in a world which seems to make no sense." Here's another one. "The unforgiving mind is full of fear and offers love no room to be itself, no place where it can spread its wings in peace and soar above the turmoil of the world. The unforgiving mind is sad, without the hope of respite and release from pain. It suffers and abides in misery, peering about in darkness, seeing not, yet certain of the danger lurking there." The Course goes on to say the unforgiving mind is torn with doubt, afraid and angry, afraid to go ahead, afraid to stay, terrified of darkness, yet more terrified at the approach of light. Here's another quote. "The unforgiving mind perceives its own damnation and beholds proof that its sins are real. It sees no mistakes, only sins. It wants to live, yet wishes it were dead. It wants escape, yet can conceive of none, because it sees the sinful everywhere." The unforgiving mind is in despair. It believes that the judgment of the world is irreversible, without seeing that it has condemned itself to this despair. It thinks it cannot change, for what it sees bears witness that its judgment is correct. It does not ask, because it thinks it knows. It does not question, certain it is right. So the unforgiving mind is the part of our mind that is agreeing with the ego. But we have a choice that we can agree with the ego or we can agree with the Holy Spirit, which is where we're going to find forgiveness and a release from all these things that are holding us. But it is a different way of seeing things. I heard somebody say that we have a choice in every moment whether we want to be right or whether we want to be happy. The ego will set up a situation to prove that it's right, even if it means that this body will die, and it will die along with it, just because it needs to prove that it's right. The Holy Spirit, on the other hand, its greatest desire is for us to be happy. And that is the goal in every one of our experiences here in this world. Here's another quote from the book. It says, "Each unforgiving mind presents you with an opportunity to teach your own mind how to forgive itself. Each one awaits release from hell through you and turns to you imploringly for heaven here and now. It has not hope, but you become its hope, and as its hope do you become your own. The unforgiving mind must learn through your forgiveness that it has been saved from hell." And what is the hell that we experience? It's this egoic life here in this world on the earth. Each person, it says, is waiting for its release from heaven so it can hell, so that person can experience heaven here on the earth. And we can experience that. Every one of us can experience that, because it's through our seeing them as they truly are, as the light of the world, that's what's going to show them that there is hope. Jesus told everybody sitting there on the mount and us today that we are the light of the world. It's not that that's becoming, that we just haven't seen it yet because it's been obscured by ignorance. That's the darkness in our heart. So here's the brilliant exercise from the Course in forgiving our enemy. It first tells us to think of two people, one that we consider an enemy and one that we consider to be our friend. This is a quote now from this exercise. It says, "Begin by thinking of someone you do not like, who seems to irritate you or to cause regret in you if you should meet him, one you actively despise or merely try to overlook. It does not matter what the form your anger takes. You probably have chosen him already. He will do. Now close your eyes and see him in your mind and look at him a while. Try to perceive some light in him somewhere, a little gleam which you had never noticed. Try to find some little spark of brightness shining through the ugly picture that you hold of him. Look at this picture till you see a light somewhere within it. Then try to let this light extend until it covers him and makes the picture beautiful and good." So what this exercise is trying to get us to see the good in this person. And if they were a friend of ours, we know that there's good. We know that we've had fun and enjoyed life with them. So we know that there's good in them. There's good in everybody. And it's so cool that the Course is using our enemy for us to actually see this light that exists in everybody. And we know the Holy Spirit's telling us it doesn't matter who we consider our enemy to be. This is going to work for everybody because everybody has the light of God in them. So then the Course tells us to take this light that we see in our enemy and to now transfer it by taking this light and that's our starting point for seeing the light in our friend. Now, as we stare at our friend in our imagination, we actually see them as more than a friend. We see them as ourselves. We see them, and now we take this, the Course says, take this combined light that we now see as holiness in our enemy and in our friend, and they now bless me with what is in me. They bless me with what I gave them. This is the forgiveness I gave, and now I receive it. So I have been forgiven as well. Isn't this amazing? What an awesome thought to use our enemy, that light, transfer it to our friend. This combined energy light now comes back to me, and we all get forgiven through this process. Now, I've used this exercise, and I have forgiven people who are in my daily life with me. I have used it to forgive friends who we're not in life together anymore. Something happened in our past, and I've now fully forgiven them. If I was to pass them on the street, I would just run and give them a big hug. I just would love to see them again, and I'm waiting for the Holy Spirit to direct and guide me as to how, when, and if we will be in relationship together. But I see them now as truly forgiven. I've also used this practice to forgive people who have died from this bodily world. And now I feel like when I think about them, I actually feel their spirit, the love from their spirit, and that they know that I've forgiven them. I've actually used this to forgive politicians who have policies that I don't agree with. And I'm finding that that's taken me a little bit more. So this isn't like necessarily a one and done deal with everybody. It may take doing this in some cases repeatedly to be able to fully forgive. But I because we share one life, even if I'm not in a relationship with this person because I've never met them, in the case of a politician, or they're deceased from this world, I believe in the truest sense that everybody knows when they have been forgiven in their true reality. And I know that God is very grateful for me to go through this practice of forgiving his other child. This is very, very important to God. Now, this is an independent exercise. It doesn't require anybody else to participate with you, which is also pretty awesome. And so I really am able to forgive everything that's happened in this world. I know that this is a dream world, and so I'm really forgiving my brother or sister for what they didn't do to me. Do you see how that works? Nobody can impact our eternal outcome, our destiny, where we already are and always will be. That isn't impacted by what goes on in this world. So I can forgive anybody for anything in this dream world. So really practicing forgiveness becomes an exercise in freedom for me, and my energy then is one life. My energy change is then spread across the entire universe, or multiverses in the bigger case. So now I don't have to carry my burden of thinking of anybody, my own sin burden, so-called sin burden, or carry the guilt that I've projected onto anybody else. This is really seeing the light in my enemy, seeing the light reflected from my friend and enemy back to me. This is just releasing all the burdens that we carry. This is how we lighten the load for everybody. So I hope this means, this practice means something to you. It's very much freeing if you're able to just stay with it and wait until you see that glimmer of light. I love you so much. I hope this resonates with you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you would. Hit the like button. Leave me a comment if you put this into practice and tell me how it works for you. We all want to hear from each other. That's how we lift each other up and offer hope to the whole world. God bless you so much. I love being in God's family with you. Go and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.